Hey there, so this is the video for the steady, strong, stable, and healthy hips. This is kind of that 15-minute homework video. And I just want you to know that you can play with any of the moves that we did. I want you more to follow your intuition as to what your hips need to work on stability, and then notice the flexibility, the ease, the release that you get from that by having really strong, steady hips, how the rest of your body, being the shoulders, the spine, the head, the neck, your knees and your ankles respond to that. Yeah? So we'll start with legs up the wall first and do a couple of those movements. And then we'll come to that X roll that we did on the floor. I don't have a lot of room here, so I might just do portions of it, segments of it. And then we'll move up to standing and do some of the Warrior 1 stuff, the Warrior 2 stuff, the balance stuff. And then you have the option of doing the tennis ball rolling before you take a little bit of a break. So that's just the overview. Let's get started. So you're not right up against the wall, but you're close. And you do the little rotations out and in. To just notice how your thighs go. And that you have an equal pace, thigh, shin, and foot moving together. Your range might be the same or different than mine. I'm good with that. And then slide the foot across and down. So that at the bottom part you arrive in that position and back up, cross, slide, lift. So again, you're moving from here first and foremost. How does that hip help you? And you can stop anywhere on this. You can stop here, maybe slide a little bit down. Or remember, we had that other option where if you slide past the knee, then your other leg can come in. And you stop just when your sit bones start to curl off the floor. And then back up. And again, cross, slide. If you come past the knee, then we can come further down. And I bet you can go further than that, but again, notice when your low back wants to start curling. Let's do one more. And if your body says you want to stay here for the whole 15 minutes, by all means do that. Or bring the feet down. Maybe slide a little away from the wall. And just take a little break. And then we'll roll over to the side and onto the belly for that X roll. So the point here, right, is you're going to lift the leg, slide the leg across, and let the torso roll. And then your upper body goes with it. Now you can continue. Lift the other leg, slide across. Oh. And then land. And then you'd go back, right? So leg lifts, comes across. And then up, squeeze. Oh, that one's harder. Oh. I totally want to use my arms in that. So feel free to do that a few times where the leg lifts, slides across, the torso rolls with it. And then if you want, you can go back, right? Just come up and across, or continue across. And then go back, lift, pull. And then up. And I've come really far forward, right? So I've got to go back to the beginning spot. And then take a little break, right? Maybe you curl your toes under and do that rocking forward and back. You come into the center for that. Or you let the hips rock side to side, where your rib cage doesn't do that action, your pelvis does. And your ribs stay relaxed. And then we get ready to come on up. So we lift up to standing. And then just check in there before we move on. How does it feel now to stand? Oh, that feels lovely. And then from there we'll step back into warrior one, right? So you want to use your butt to do that, to pull back, and then reach the arms. You can step as far back as you'd like, as long as you're using your buns to do that. And the tendency is to overthink it. Don't overthink it, just feel it. What's the step back where you feel your butt working? And then from there, you can add pyramid, and then maybe revolve that. So there's the warrior, pyramid, and revolved. And then you could make it more complex, where you land back in warrior, and then you go into pyramid and revolved at the same time. And maybe you don't, right? Maybe you just stick with warrior, or pyramid, or revolved triangle. And do that as many times as you want, and then come back, and then just check how you feel, how your stance is, how your legs feel, and then start moving out to the side, right? So we were to move out and then land in a warrior two kind of pose, and then come back, step that way, and rotate, without this turning a lot, right? So you're holding this steady and moving the thigh out and then coming back. And then just notice, what's the stance where you do that and your pelvis turns? Notice my sternum turned as well. And this whole area rotated. You can see it in my pant legs as well. So the point is that I step and I only feel this rotate in this. You'll feel your butt working too, yeah? So keep trying that. And then maybe warrior two, maybe a reverse warrior, a side angle, or a triangle. And then you come back. And you can land in any of those. Right, there's reverse, side angle, triangle, the leg straightens. Notice where you want to lock your knees. And if so, that means you just went too far and you're getting stability in your knees instead of in your pelvis. Yep. So maybe even test that of the step out and the rotate and the lift or you just come to the rotation. And how does it feel to rotate? And where does your pelvis want to go with it? So where can we keep this up here steady and move just the whole leg over to the side? Cool. So play with that for a little bit if you'd like, and then come back and notice what changed, how you feel in the legs before we start balancing on them. Oh. So we'd step toward the wall, bend the knee until the foot lands on the wall itself, and then there was that dancer's pose, right, where you're pushing back into the wall with your foot. And then we release that. Stand steady and strong on this leg, and you're going to feel it push a little bit out as this one pushes back into the wall. And you got to use your butt to do that again, yeah? So push your foot back by your butt squeezing. And then relax and do that again. Bend. Your foot just lands on the wall. And if it doesn't, you might need to move further back or further forward. And then push your foot into the wall using your butt tightening and your hamstrings tightening a little bit. Add the arms or don't. And then we had tree pose, so we could come closer to the wall for support. Let the leg lift and land. So lift, and then the foot lands, maybe at the knee, below the knee, above the knee, you choose. And the wall is there for support if you need it or want it. But that your hip is doing all that lift up and out. Or like Warrior 2, you can do the rotation first and then slide up. Rotate first, slide up. And then if you want to hold the pose, hold the pose. You can also turn so that you've got your hands on the wall. And then slide up into tree. Cool. And then we did eagle. So you can be close to the wall again. Have a little squat back. Lift the leg up and over. And come back. So you can do this supported against the wall. And feel how your legs come in. They squeeze in and cross. Or you can make it more complex away from the wall, so that you come onto one leg and then squat and land together, and then stand. Meaning, we sink back in the hips, lift the leg, and cross it over, all at the same time. So we arrive in eagle's pose. And that's a lot going on, isn't it? Whew. So you've got to really move from strong, steady hips there. We'll do one more set perhaps, up and across. If you feel any knee pain at all, you might have gone too deep in your squat. If you feel any back pain, you might have tipped too forward from your back instead of from your hip sinking behind you. And then stand again. Oh. So how did all of that feel? And what's changed? How does your back respond? How do your shoulders? How's your head? How do your knees and your ankles feel? And then we'll come down to the floor. So I tend to like pillows to sit on. Bolsters, blankets. And the point here now, you can use a tennis ball, or in this instant, you can take your fingers in place of the tennis ball and do a little massage along the tendons. And then from there, as you find a spot that might be tender, then you start to rotate the thighs, one or both, in and out around your fingers or on that tennis ball. So right now, I'm just behind my knees in the really ropey tendons there. And then I'd slide further up toward the meaty middle part of my hamstrings. You can work inner thighs, you can work your outer thighs, your IT band. You can even work the quads if you wanted, that same way. And then you might come to just the front of those sit bones, so not directly on your sit bones, but the tendony, ropey part just in front. And you're just applying pressure, just like that tennis ball would have. And that's pretty much it. And then you rest and check out the cat in the back over there who's making a cameo. Notice how you feel here. And then if you have the pillow, it's actually pretty fantastic to press that back, bend the knees, roll back. And take a few minutes, maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes, to rest in Shavasana, since that's the whole reason we're here, right? You might notice that your head is too supported, so then what do? You just take a pillow away, or you take both of the pillows away and just rest on the floor. You might even take the pillow and bring it under your hips. And get a mini inversion there. And just feel what you feel. So how the thighs in the hip socket feel. Maybe do that idea of breathing from the feet up to the crown of the head, back out and down, or breathe in and out of the pelvic floor area. And that's it. So then check how you feel after all of that when you come back. And you can do this as many times as you want. I'd suggest maybe once a week. And then if you have more time for that, add into that. And then next month, like I said, we'll work on the low back. And so low back pain ties into hip stability quite a lot. So we'll just see how that works. Anyway, if you have any questions on this, if you need any more clarification on the movements, send me a text message, an email, give me a phone call, and I'll do what I can to answer that, okay? Thank you. Have a great one.